You are fake news.
Fake news. What do you think?
This is the Fake News Watch, your alternative news source without the alternative facts. I'm Kaylee Fagan. For the last 8 weeks, we've tackled some really complicated topics, such as inherent bias, media literacy, and even the rules of journalism. Those of you that have been tuning in every week are probably, and understandably, getting pretty frustrated with the shitty state of events in America's media landscape. So as a treat, we thought we would spend our second to last episode looking outward from the United States and a quick tour of the fake news around the world. Let's start with the country that we're all going to call home pretty soon, Russia. I'll be honest with you guys, before beginning research for this episode, I knew very little about Russia other than the fact that their president can often be found riding horses without a shirt on. The gist of what I learned is that Russia's relationship with the media is complicated. Reporters Without Borders ranked Russia as number 148 out of all 180 countries on their Press Freedom Index, mostly because a handful of journalists have gone missing or been imprisoned for criticizing the government there. And Freedom House says that the government owns almost all of the TV, radio, and print news networks in the whole country. In a situation like this, you end up with a media landscape where fake news thrives, goes largely unfact-checked, and is often created by the president. Vladimir Putin is often depicted in Russian news as a rugged outdoorsman who gets up to some pretty incredible adventures. He's been photographed saving people from tigers, cuddling with snow leopards, and making amazing archaeological discoveries while on a casual scuba diving trip. However, he's admitted to the BBC and others that all of these incredible photo ops had been staged. So, yes, that tiger was under control the whole time, those jugs were totally planted, the whole thing was set up. Which, frankly, leads me to question everything I know about Russia. Does he actually even ride horses while shirtless? Is that even a real horse? We just don't know. The moral of the story here is that Russia is a breeding ground for fake news and cheesy propaganda. So let's move on to another country that's equally scary for Americans, but maybe just a little bit less so since the interview premiered in 2014. North Korea. As many of us know, North Korea is led by a totalitarian dictator, Kim Jong-un, who maintains his supreme power by isolating the country and barring foreign media. Tim Urban, a blogger who is counted among the few Americans that has actually been inside North Korea, despite the U.S. government's strict travel warnings, says that so much of the status quo there is perpetuated by propaganda and fake news. Although calling their journalism fake news is kind of like saying Mexican food while you're in Mexico. It's really just kind of redundant. Freedom House described the state of the media there as strictly supervised and censored and noted that all TVs and radios in the country are stuck on state-run channels 24/7. And the government is not shy about fabricating news stories. For example, in 2012, one of the largest national newspapers broke the story that the government had uncovered a unicorn's lair in an archaeological dig conveniently right there within the nation's capital. You heard that right. They said they found biological evidence of unicorns, which were apparently ridden by ancient Korean emperors. And luckily, a sign that literally said unicorn lair was found nearby, so there's really nothing suspicious about that at all. On the Press Freedom Index, North Korea comes in as the second worst country in the whole world, and in addition to the state completely controlling all media within the country, officials monitor visiting foreign reporters closely and prevent them from talking to the general public who live in fear of being sent to concentration camps for even listening to radio stations broadcasted from abroad. So, yeah, there's that. But Russia and North Korea are really sort of the extreme examples here. Let's look at a country that we in the States might be able to relate to a little bit better. In Germany, the media landscape has been bombarded with politically fueled fake news that is mainly generated to fuel negative sentiment toward Muslims, to encourage stricter immigration laws and refugee programs. Sound familiar? And while Germany ranks higher than the U.S. on the Press Freedom Index, they recently adopted a new bill that widens the definition of hate speech, specifically to allow harsher punishments for writing fake news and then spreading it on social media. Many critics have expressed concern that the new law will cause censorship, but it hasn't even gone into effect yet, so we'll just have to wait and see. Essentially, depending on the style of the ruling body, different countries experience, deal with, or benefit from the fake news differently. The U.S. obviously lies closer to Germany on this press freedom spectrum, but we've already seen a few hints of government-generated fake news right here at home. Like Trump's suspicious photo of himself writing his inauguration speech while sitting at a reception desk using a Sharpie and fresh legal pad. Or his stacks of unlabeled folders that may or may not have contained blank pieces of paper. We'll actually never know on that one. No one was allowed to touch the documents during the press conference. The moral of the story here is that fake news is a global problem and is a bigger issue than you and I can solve alone. But on the flip side, the moral here is also that we are not alone in the info war. We are fighting for the value of accuracy and facts right along with so many other countries, probably not including North Korea or Russia, but I think that goes without saying. So if I freaked you out a little bit today, I've done my job as a reporter. And I'll continue to do that job by encouraging you to support real, verifiable news and flag anything that seems even a little bit suspicious. Please join us next week for our season finale of the Fake News Watch. And as always, remember to seek the truth and share it.